Hey, what's up? We're here. We had some technical difficulties, but we're rolling, and it's
happening.
It's happening again.
It's happening.
I'm Michael Amatuzo,
I'm Jose Torres.
and as always, we just want to say welcome back.
Yeah, man, how you doing? You good? I know
All
you like
right,
that. I know you like that. How long you been back, man?
GSM.
We're good. Green light. Let's do it.
So, yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We had some
Welcome back.
difficulties.
Bit of
difficulties.
but we're here. Hey, one thing we want to encourage you with is jump in on this new chat feature on YouTube and say hello. We want to talk with you all throughout just our time hanging out and even through the lesson tonight. So, yeah.
Yep. So we just want to say welcome back to everybody, but it feels like it's been a while. So we've taken a couple weeks off, and I just want to know, Michael, what you've been up to, man, since the last time we met. What's going on? So I'll start off, if you guys can't tell already, in the what you've been up to segment. I have a new addition to my wardrobe. This is recent, new, and it just happened. And I was out biking on some trails, and I went to jump off. So I was falling, went to jump off something. My bike hooked on to my pants, and I jumped and fell. And anyway, long story short, I fell off my bike, and I hurt my hand. And we have a picture of my hand. The difference is you can even see, like, when you look at the pictures, like, which ones are bruised and which ones not bruised. And luckily, nothing's broken. But they definitely were dirty and nasty and bruised, and you can see on my right hand it is pretty swollen. But on top of that, too, I also fell off and had a pedal come and just bash me in my shin, and this is what that looked like. You can actually see where the spikes in the pedal actually dug into.
You need to
my
warn
skin.
people before you show pictures
Yeah.
like this. Like
Sorry.
you need to say, "Hey,
Warning.
if you're a little
All right,
wheezy,
get that off the screen. Get that off the screen.
Take that,
Get that off.
man.
Ooh.
Come on.
Yeah. But what about you, Michael?
Yeah,
What you been up to?
You know, we're taking things a little easier at my place and not quite as reckless. So, you know, a couple weeks ago we did some landscaping. And then recently we have just been redoing our kind of like eating kitchen area and painting some tables and some chairs that we purchased. So here's kind of a project. We
that
literally
looks good.
just did this last night. And full disclosure, we were up till 2 a.m. painting.
2 a.m.
Yeah, you put the kids down, and then you just
And then just
you go until
do
it's
the work.
done.
Do what needs to get done.
So yeah, it was a fun project, and I'm exhausted.
Well, that's
So,
cool, man. I
yeah.
like that. So, you know, last time we met, we asked the students what you've been up to during quarantine.
That's right. We're not the only ones up to something.
No, they showed us all the stuff. They did trick shots and all these other things, paintings. And we had a few students from Carmel who said, hey, I went in on this, some late submissions, and they sent us some shots. And so the first one, I think, is from Annabelle Sablehouse.
This is incredible.
This is ridiculous.
This is
Like,
incredible.
Annabelle, if you're watching or if anybody's friends, like, how is this done? Like, what?
Oh my goodness.
What did you do? Like, is this like pencil, crayon, watercolors, an iPad, a tablet? But this is the shadows. Like, this is awesome.
And you can follow her
At
AKS_7025.
Yeah, 7025. There it is. Shout out.
Shout out. There you go.
Yeah, and then you
Incredible.
also had somebody else. Who
Yeah,
sent
so
something.
Ben Neville sent these to me, and he has been working on, I think, for like a year or two, maybe longer. I'm sorry if it's, but building the Death Star, and it's pretty incredible. It's so detailed. Now, this is just one photo. I showed Jose some of these. He sent me so many pockets of what's happening in this. It's incredible.
Yeah,
so
because it's not just like a front and top. Like there's,
Yeah.
it's all around. Like it's 3D.
it's so
for sure.
detailed. You got Princess Leia and
Spock.
Luke and Spock. Yeah, that's not Star Trek. But
No.
good work, man. We want to see a finished product. Keep going. That's awesome.
It's good stuff. Yeah, Star Wars is cool. Don't get us confused with Star Trek, but
You're gonna get a lot of people hating on you if you do
Get some angry emails or something like
Yeah,
that. But
that's awesome. Hey, one more thing that I think we need to mention since we just showed Annabelle's photo is it's her birthday today. It's her sweet 16. So
well,
happy birthday.
happy
Annabelle.
happy birthday, and happy birthday.
No, we shouldn't.
No.
No.
Speaking of celebrations and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Rob Clarkson, one of our middle school volunteers, he's celebrating his wedding anniversary today.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
And
to-
we're moving on.
Hey, to something fun
Yes.
for us to do. We thought, we always do the game stuff. So we want you at home to do this. We have kind of maybe shown this somewhere before, but we're going to play a game called Would You Rather.
Would
And
I rather what?
Well, that's what we're going to find out. You're going to get a scenario on the screen. We're both going to play this, but we got Would You Rathers that are going to come up on the screen, and we're going to just kind of talk through what we would rather do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Let's do it.
So, would you rather never use social media again, or would you rather never watch a movie again? Social media movie. Where you
We're
at
gonna
on
learn a
that?
lot
Star
about each. We're gonna learn a
Trek,
lot about each other right
Star
now.
Trek, TikTok,
Yeah.
MySpace.
Yeah, you know, man, I would sell social media to keep movies.
Yeah.
I'm a movie buff, so that one's
But you have all those people out there making like little 5-second movies called Vines. It's a new app.
Yeah, Vines.
It's a new app.
What world are you living in? Hey, time machine.
Not 2020.
So how about for you though?
Whew.
This is a hard one for you.
This is hard.
Now
I
let's just
love movies.
What if Rocky never existed? Would that make it any easier?
You know what? Like, I used to live in a life where there was no social media,
Yeah.
but I've always enjoyed movies. I'm going to say, would you rather? I would never use social media again.
Yeah, see,
and I would go just the
we
movie
have the
route.
advantage of living without it and knowing you can make it.
Yeah.
You can. You here's the cool thing. When social media doesn't exist, people don't get upset when you just go and knock on their door and say, hey, do you want to hang out? that used to be a thing.
Yeah,
It used to be appropriate.
It is.
All right.
Next one. Here we go. Would you rather have hands that never stop growing or have feet that have never stopped growing? Hand or feet? Hand or feet? Something.
Hands that never stop growing, have feet that never stop growing. Man.
I just hit my hand on the table.
Yeah, you did.
I am gonna go with hands though. Even though I have a busted hand, I'm gonna go with I would rather have hands that never stop growing.
Gosh, I'm gonna go feet because there's so many things that I use my hands for, playing instruments, all the stuff that you would just lose control of. So yeah, I might be in a wheelchair, but I still feel like there's sports for people in wheelchair. It's good. It's all
I'm
right.
just thinking high fives and hugs. Like I'd be all over that.
Oh my goodness!
Boom.
I would not let you. I would not let your big hands hug me. We got one more. One more.
Yeah, one more. All right. Would you rather be stuck on a broken ski lift up high?
Hey,
or,
if you guys aren't answering, you should be answering. We would like to know what you guys
or
would rather.
Would you rather be stuck on a broken elevator?
Stuck on a broken ski lift.
So
Stuck on a broken-
you have all the space that you need, but you're high up, or you're stuck in a box, confined.
I've been stuck on a broken ski lift before, and it's not that bad. Being stuck in a broken elevator sounds terrifying, and so I'm going stuck on a broken ski lift.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same thing. I think with
There feels like a chance for someone to come get you on the ski
or
lift.
like you hope maybe if it does fall, like if either if either one falls, you're like, well, at least I know I'm gonna maybe hit snow.
Right. Plus, you're like, I've still got my snowboard or my skis. I might be able to land this and just take it down the hill. You know what I mean? We got this.
That's next level stuff right there. You've been watching
gotta
way
think
too many
through it.
movies. You've been
Movie.
watching way too many movies.
Hey,
Thinking,
it's all
yeah.
good.
I guess, but YOLO, right? You only live once. so
YOLO.
if that's the case. But there's a phrase that kids are saying these days now that it's 2020.
YOLO.
No, it's not. It's close to YOLO. It's Yoko.
Yoko.
YOKO. Right? You only quarantine once.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
It is a thing. It's a thing. 2020, Yoko. You only quarantine once. And so there's things that you can do during quarantine because Yoko, man, it's a thing. And so there's our pal. I forget his name right now. Carl. our pal.
Our buddy Carl.
Our pal Carl that I can't remember his
Man,
name.
you guys remember just a few weeks into quarantine how he helped us get through that?
With peanut butter face.
Yeah, with peanut butter face.
Peanut butter monster.
Yeah.
Peanut butter monster.
Yeah, don't change it.
So he's got another video for us.
He's always here for us.
He's always here for us. So check out this video about Yoko.
Hey, before we...
What? No, hold on. Yeah, what's going on?
Is there anything we need to say before we just launch in that video?
You're right. Messed
Yes.
up.
No, you're good. I'll let you do it.
We're different. Yeah, we're doing something before
Something's
Yoko.
different.
Before Yoko happens, we're not going to send you to watch to small groups. Michael, we're doing live teaching, and tonight Michael is actually going to share with us tonight after the Yoko video, our first live teaching. We're in a series now talking about origin stories and some superheroes, and Michael's going to be the first one to lead us off in the segment. So after Yoko, we got live teaching right here on the big stage.
And then Zoom groups. It'll be
this
good.
stage, and then Zoom groups. So, but hey, Yoko.
Yoko.
What's up, fam German hammies? Hope all is Erstein, healthy and wealthy. Now, we're hearing all this talk about we're all in this together and stay at home and just go about life as normally as possible. Well, to that, I only have one word, Yoko. Am I right, boys? Yoko! Yoko simply stands for you only quarantine once. It's not a choice, but a way of life. Why simply sit around and let the days pass when you carpe diem and please the day?
To put in layman's terms, Yoko is simply a lifestyle for those who choose to make the best out of our current circumstances. When life hands you lemons, you take those lemons and you throw them back at life because I have a very strict hypoallergenic citrus allergy that causes me to go into anaphylactic shock at a moment's notice. So I present to you Yoko in action. Let's go. Eating 30 pounds of Supreme slow-cooked chicken nachos at 7 a.m. after staying up all night playing Warzone?
Missed your grandpa and not able to see him since this whole thing broke out? No worries. Make your homie into a grandpa.
Catching up on Judge Judy? Face your fears? Yoko?
Wrestle Taser? Boys?
No, okay, dude, peanut allergy!
No, guys, no, that. Dying alone?
Go.
It's actually a real fear of mine. Anybody else have any other fears?
Public speaking. So I've gathered you here today to talk about the cell leaving the nucleus host.
Playing catch with random objects?
Got this.
Wait, is that a crowbar?
Oh, hey there, neighbor. What's that?
What's up, guys? Hey, I have a question for you. I want you to think about when you were younger, when you were little. What is it that you dreamed about being when you grew up? Like, what is it when you were a little kid that you're like, one day I'm gonna grow up and be a. I know for me, I thought I was gonna be an NBA star. I thought I was gonna be a professional basketball player. I can remember when I was 5 or 6, I would go to the YMCA with my dad, and he would play pickup ball in the morning with his friends. And I remember just sitting on the bench, and I would hold onto the ball, and I'd watch them play. And then as they finished, they would often circle up around the free throw line, and they'd invite me out, and they'd let me come out and just shoot my best free throw shot. And then they would encourage me and say, "You're doing such a great job." And I was like, man, I'm just gonna be a huge NBA star. This is gonna be awesome. And then I got a little bit older, and that dream started to fade away as I realized I'm not getting as great at the sport as I thought I was going to. But we all have those dreams, right? Like, and whether you dream to be a professional athlete, a doctor, or a dinosaur, I don't know how old you were when you had that dream. We had these dreams, right? And maybe another one that you can relate with is, did you ever pretend to be a superhero? Whether that was dressing up, for Halloween, or just talking with your friends about what's your favorite superhero, or what's your favorite superpower, right? Like, hey, would you want the power of invisibility, or superhuman strength, or superhuman speed, or flight? Like, which would be your favorite? And I asked some of you guys just yesterday on Instagram, like, who's your favorite superhero and why? And you shared some of those answers. And I would even encourage you now, like, share that in the comments. Share in the comments right now, who is your favorite superhero and why is that? But it's just fun to do that, right? It's fun to imagine what it would be like to be a superhero, to have superpowers. And as I was thinking about superheroes, I kept being drawn to one superhero, and it might surprise you, but her name is Captain Marvel. And here's the thing, Captain Marvel is not limited to just one superpower. I mean, she has multiple, right? She has superhuman speed and superhuman strength, and she can fly, and she can shoot like energy out of her body and her fists. But if I'm being honest, Captain Marvel she's not my favorite superhero, like not even by far. What keeps drawing me back to her story is her origin story. That's what keeps drawing me back to this superhero is her origin story. And every superhero has an origin story. And if you're not familiar with the word origin, it just simply means the point or place where something begins. Every superhero has that. And I just think it's fascinating, just in general, learning about people's origin story. Like, where did they come from? How did they become who they became? And so we're going to take some time. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at Captain Marvel's origin story. And if you are a comic book fan, I just want to apologize right now because I'm just going to use the recent Captain Marvel movie that Disney released kind of as just a flyover for today's lesson. And so don't hate, okay? Just hang in there with me. And if you haven't seen this movie, it's fine. I'm going to bring you up to speed right now, and we're just going to kind of like run through the movie in high speed. And so here's how the movie goes. At the beginning of the movie, we meet Captain Marvel. Except we don't know her as Captain Marvel because she hasn't become that yet. And actually we know her by the name Vers. And she has been, what she doesn't know is she's actually been captured by the Kree. And she's working for them. And here's the thing. We have a different perspective than her, right? Like, she doesn't realize that she's been captured. But they have actually brainwashed her. And they've removed her memories. So she can't remember her past. She can't remember who she is. And they've actually replaced her memories with this false history, this false history, a false family, all of these false memories. And as the story progresses, we also realize that she has this mark on the back of her neck. And all throughout the movie, people are telling her, the Kree are telling her, like, hey, that is for your protection. That is to keep you safe. That is to help harness your powers. You need that. You need that mark. Don't take it off. And she doesn't know any better. But as the movie progresses, she starts to have these flashbacks. And we don't really know what they are. She doesn't really know what they are at first. Like, are they dreams? What's going on? But then she starts to realize that these are actually bits and pieces of real, like her real past. And as the movie progresses, she starts to piece these together, and she realizes who she really is. She realizes that her real name is Carol Danvers, and that she was a pilot, and that she had crashed, and she found this energy source, and the Kree got there, and they wanted the energy source, and so she shot it and destroyed it, and then she absorbed all of that. That's why the Kree captured her, because they wanted the energy, and so they took her, and they actually gave her that mark because they were trying to suppress the energy and they were afraid what would happen. And she realizes all this, and she realizes her true origin story. And for the first time, she embraces who she really is. She's Carol Danvers. She embraces her true identity. And at that point, the mark falls off. And for the first time, she's experiencing the fullness of all of her powers, and she becomes Captain Marvel. And it's a really exciting and fun story. But what's so crazy and intriguing about it is how powerful and important her discovering her origin story and actually embracing who she was. Like, if she never would have done that, how boring of a movie would that be, right? I mean, if she never had those flashbacks, if she never realized that, then she never would have become Captain Marvel. But her origin story, because she realized where she came from and she embraced that, it changed everything for her. And so it got me thinking, do you know your origin story? Do you know where you came from? And one of the things that's fascinating about the word origin, if you look it up, that one of the synonyms for that is Genesis. And I'm not talking about our church. I'm talking about the first book in the Bible. And if you turn to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, you learn this. I'll read it to you. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. We learn the origin of our universe. The reason that this earth exists, the reason the stars exist, planets exist, galaxies exist, the reason our entire universe exists is because God created it. It's the origin of our universe. And then as you move through the first chapter of Genesis, just a few verses, something really incredible happens. Because God goes on to create all of creation, the land, the sea, right, the vegetation, and then he creates animals. But then what does he create last? Like you know these next verses. It's verse 26 and 27. But before I read them, I'm hesitant to read them because many of you have heard this all of your life. You know these next verses that I'm about to read, and I really don't want you to hear them from the same ears that you've always heard them. I don't want you to read it from and look at it from the same lens that you've always looked at it and read it from. I really want you to stop for a moment and look past just the numbing of I've heard this before, and process how powerful these next couple verses are. Genesis 1, verses 26 through 27 says this. Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creation that moves along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. You were created in God's image. And we're not perfect, right? You and I, we're not perfect. But we're a reflection of God. We're a reflection of God. He created us in his image. And I think it's just so easy to look over that. Again, if you've been raised in the church, if you've heard that so many times, you're like, yeah, I know. Genesis 1, 26 to 20, God created heavens and the earth, and then he made humans, and he made us, and we're created in his image, and I know that. But like, I want you to realize, verse 26, right? It talks about that God said, hey, let's make all of mankind, let's make them in our image, and we're going to put them above all of creation. Right? God makes all of creation. He makes the land, the sea, the animals, and then he waits and he says, I'm going to save the best for last. I'm going to save the best for last. You know, when Haley and I first got married, we didn't have any kids, and we had 2 dogs. And the dogs were like our kids. We loved those dogs. We spoiled those dogs. But the moment our first child entered the world, and I'm sitting there and I'm holding our daughter, Anna, Our dogs just didn't seem to matter as much anymore. And I'm looking at my own flesh and blood, this person that looks a little bit like me and looks a little bit like Haley. And our dogs just didn't matter anymore. And that's because God made us above the rest. Like we are something special to him. Well, if you know the story as we go through Genesis, that you know that we chose sin over God. That we chose sin over God, and that sin separated us from God, and that was our choice. We chose to do it our way instead of God's way. But God loved us so much that what happened, right? He had a plan. He sent his son to die so that we would have a way back to our Creator. Here's why this is so significant. Because there are so many Carol Danvers of the world wandering around, and they don't know their true origin. They don't even know that there is a God who handcrafted, that created them, a God who loves them, a God who sent his son to die for them, to make a way back to their Creator. And the enemy doesn't want them to know. And the enemy lies to them and tries to hide that past from them and fill it with false memories and encourage them to sin and to stay captive, right? To stay captive to that. And he says, no, you need that. No, you need that sin. No, it's good for you. No, it keeps you safe. No, it's fun, right? And he gives them these short-lived pleasures to try to distract them from their true origin, from their Creator. Why would the enemy do that? Because he knows that if they realized their true identity and they embraced their origin story, that they would turn on him, that they would become unstoppable, that through Christ, who died and conquered sin and death, that he would give them the power to conquer the enemy and be reunited with their Creator. And maybe for you, you're thinking, I'm a Carol Danver. This is the first time I'm discovering my origin story right now. And if that's you, then that's awesome. And we would want to know, and we would encourage you, share that in the comments. We want to chat with you about that. Or maybe you say, no, I've been following Jesus. I already knew this. Then the mission is clear. Guys, there are Carol Danvers. There are people who don't know their origin, and they're trying to use their own finite minds and science to discover why they're here, and they don't know that there's a Creator who made them. Guys, we have to go share the gospel with them. But I want to just take it one more step and make it a little bit more personal. How does knowing your origin, that the God of the universe created you in his image, how does that change things for you? What would that look like on a daily basis if you embraced that, if you embraced your true identity? Would it change the way that you look at yourself in the mirror when you wake up in the morning? The things that you say to yourself in your mind? The way that you receive things that other people say to you? Criticism that people say to you? Or things that you say that criticize other people? See, because we're all made in God's image, and you are criticizing God's creation. You're criticizing a reflection of his own image, or they are doing the same. Or peer pressure. Like, how does it change the way that you react if you embrace your true identity and who God made you to be? We're going to talk more about that. We're going to jump into Zoom groups and have more of a discussion about what it looks like if we embrace our true identity. But first, let me pray, and then I'll give you a few details. God, thank you. Thank you for being a God who loves us so well. Father, that you created us in your own image. And Father, that even though we sinned against you, Father, that we chose our own ways, that you didn't give up on us. That you had a plan, that you sent your son Jesus to die for us and to conquer death and to conquer sin so that we could be reunited with you. And Father, I just think of the story of Captain Marvel and that moment where she realized the truth. She realized her true identity, and for the first time she experienced the fullness of all of her power. Father, that we would be reminded that you want us to live in the fullness of everything that you created us to be, but it's grounded in our origin story and embracing our true identity and who you made us to be. Father, we thank you, and we pray this in your name. Amen. Well, hey, we're going to jump into Zoom groups here shortly. And if you don't have your Zoom ID and you need that, then reach out to your group leader. They can get it to you. If you don't have a way to reach out to your group leader, just let us know in the comments, and we will get that to you as soon as possible. It's been awesome being with you guys. We'll see you next week.